Today we will discuss about a new topic, which is brakes. Device which is used to apply frictional resistance, right, in a moving body to stop or to slow down. Okay, so either to stop or to slow down by observing its kinetic energy. So it will absorb whatever the kinetic energy. That is the main objective of your brake. Okay, so it is applicable only for quick responses, right? So if I consider any object, it will automatically comes to rest, right? So even if you leave the accelerator in your bike, automatically at a particular stage it will come to rest, right? But what is the purpose? It is main purpose for a quick response, right? For that only we are applying this brake. So there are different types of brakes available. So it can be classified as hydraulic brakes. So most of the systems are now comes under hydraulic system, right? We have a disc brake type of approach, so where it will hold the disc, right, by using hydraulic pressure, right? That is one brake. The next one is electric brake. So by using electric current, right? So it will apply the brake. So that is also another part. And the third part is mechanical brakes, right? So we are going to discuss everything related to mechanical brakes, right? I think in future we'll be studying about this hydraulic brakes. So this is basic. For basic, we have basic mechanical brakes, right? So whatever which is basic, that one we will be discussing in this particular topic, right? This mechanical brakes is classified as block brake, band brake, band and block brake, and internally expanding brakes, right? These are the different types of brakes available in mechanical brakes. So let us consider a single block brake, right? You can able to see here, you have a rod which has some gripper or something like that. So this is the drum which is rotating. So when you apply this rod, so it will have contact with this drum and it will apply a brake, right? This is required as a simple block brake or shoe brakes, right? So if I draw a free body diagram, so I can draw in two cases, one related to the drum, right? This wheel or a drum, whatever it is. The other one related to your this lever, right? So that is also one part. If I consider a drum, right? So your drum here rotates in clockwise direction, right? So if the drum rotates in clockwise direction, it is having contact with this particular shoe or block. So which means you will have a reaction, Rn, and because of this rotation in this direction, you will have friction on the opposite direction, right? So friction is always opposite to the direction of motion, right? So since the direction of rotation is like this in clockwise, your friction will be in anti-clockwise direction, which is mu into Rn. Okay, so these are the two forces applicable for your drum, right? For your rotating drum. If I consider your lever, so this is your shoe. Of course, the same reaction force will be acting like this, and your friction will be opposite to this, because if you add this two, it has to be in equilibrium state, right? So your friction is in opposite direction to your block or your drum. So it will be mu into Rn, and then you have this force. What is the force you are applying to apply this brake, right? So this one we called as a single block or a shoe brake, right? This is the first simple brake which is used, right? Right. So what are the application of this? So you can able to see these brakes in trams, trains, and bicycles. Even in bicycle, you have these types of block brakes, right? So even in train, larger trains. So the shoe, so it is not in rubber; it will be in somewhat in a steel-like structure. So which is applied accordingly. So this will also be under this block brake. right? To have more friction in this particular surface, right? I can able to see here. So this is the block, right, which is applied here, right? So let us derive a formula related to this brakes, right? First we'll discuss about this fully. We'll solve some problem, then we'll go for the next brakes and all. Let me consider this is my brake, right? What we discussed, what I showed previously. Here you can able to see that this is the center point. It is fixed. Your lever is fixed on this center point, on this point. Okay, this point is straight. It is coinciding with your force, your friction force, right? So whatever force I am discussing here is for the lever. We are not concentrating on the drum. We are concentrating only on the lever, right? So you can able to see that there is no equidistance, so there is no offset distance with respect to this fulcrum and your friction force, right? Based on that, we are going to consider here. Okay, right. So we know that we will take moment at this point O. So this is it is in equilibrium state. If I take moment at point O, what you will get? This force mu into Rn, since it is at the it is coaxial with this, you don't have any distance, perpendicular distance, so it is 0. And we consider Rn. So Rn into A, it is rotating in which direction?
Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. So we consider anti-clockwise as positive. In that case, I will get Rn into A, right? And this one, you have another force, P into L. So this is rotating in clockwise. So minus P into L. This is in equilibrium state, so it is equal to 0, right? In that case, I will get Rn is equal to PL by A, right? So I am getting as a formula. So Rn is equal to PL by A. So why we identify Rn? What is this Rn? Rn is the frictional force, right? Sorry, it is a reaction force. Rn is a reaction force. Mu into Rn is your frictional force, right? So once I got Rn, I can able to identify what is the braking torque, right? Braking torque is nothing but your friction force into radius of your brake drum, right? Your friction force is mu into Rn, right? This is my friction force, right? Mu into Rn, and this R is the radius of the drum, right? So when I multiply this, I will get what is the torque required to apply the brake. Now let me consider case 1, right? So the line of action of friction force is at a distance B below the fulcrum, right? This is my fulcrum, which is the hinge point. Your friction force is B distance below, right? Your friction force is B distance below, right? And let me consider your brake drum is rotating in clockwise. Let me consider your brake drum is rotating in clockwise, right? In that case, this force is right, right? Mu into Rn is right because it has to be the same, because your drum will be in opposite direction, so your lever will be in the same direction. So mu into Rn, this is right. Okay, this is right. Okay, so let me consider this as a formula. So same procedure. So what I am going to do is I am going to take moment. So I am going to take moment at O, and I am going to equate it to 0. Right? So now, so you have 3 forces. We are going to deal with all the 3 forces to identify what is the value of your moment. Right? Right. So let me consider the first force, Rn. So Rn is here and your fulcrum is here. What is the rotation? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? It is in anti-clockwise. So it is positive, right? Rn into force into perpendicular distance. The distance for O to this force is A. So Rn into A. Right? Next is this force. This force. So what is the rotation of this one? That is also anticlockwise. Right? In that case, what I can say, so this is A. Okay. So what I can say, I can write as plus mu into Rn, right, into B, right, for this one. Let me go for the force. Force is clockwise or anti-clockwise? Clockwise. So it is minus P into L. This is equal to 0.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Sir, how is there mu into R and force? We are deciding it is anti-clockwise, sir.
Right, okay. So let me consider. So you have this point. Let me consider this B, right? B is the distance. Perpendicular distance between
Mu
your
R
force.
frictional force and the fulcrum.
Yeah, for that is the perpendicular. Let me draw a line based on that distance. Okay. So my
Yes,
point O is here, which is fixed. This is my point O, which is fixed. My force is downward, which is acting like this, right, towards this direction. How this line is rotating
Yes, sir.
is anti-clockwise. So that is why plus. Right?
Yes, sir.
Can you able to get it? Yeah, draw a line based on your distance and then apply the force, fixed point on the force, you will get it. Now in this, I can able to get what is my P. Right, P is the amount of force applied to make the brake to stop. Right, so P will be equal to Rn, right, which is a Rn into A, right? So plus mu into Rn into B divided by L. Or I can write as P is equal to Rn is a common term. I can write as A plus mu B divided by L. Right? Any doubt in this? So this is first case when your brake drum is rotating in clockwise. Right? Then we go for the next case. Right? So same thing. Let me consider your brake drum is rotating in anti-clockwise. When the brake drum is rotating anti-clockwise. So whether this force is applicable now? This force.
Left side.
Yeah, it has to be in opposite direction, which means this is wrong. This is wrong. Instead, your force will be in opposite direction, right? Which is, let me consider. So your force is like this.
Sir, அது ஆக்சுவலா அதுவே மாறிடும்.
இதுலப்பா
இல்ல அந்த ட்ரம்மோட டைரக்ஷன் பொறுத்து தானே சார் அந்த இது ஃப்ரிக்ஷனல் ஃபோர்ஸ்.
ஆமா, some drum is rotating in anti-clockwise. அப்ப drumல வந்து friction வந்து இப்படி வரும், லீவருக்கு வந்து இப்படி வரும்.
ஓகே சார்.
Right, so லீவருக்கு இந்த டைரக்ஷன். So this is my force. Right? Now, so the same procedure. So இதுவும் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா here also the friction force it is below. So it is below B. Right? So the same procedure. I'm going to apply it now. So I'm going to take moment at O. And I am going to equate it to 0. So Rn. So Rn is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. So Rn into A. Right?
Sir, but
mu into Rn.
friction force same direction act ஆகிற மாதிரி தானே சார் இருக்கு. இப்போ இது ஆன்டி கிளாக் வைஸ்ல போச்சுன்னா மியூ ஆர்என் லெஃப்ட் சைடில் ரைட் சைடில் தானே சார் வரும்?
இல்லப்பா, அதுதான்ப்பா. ஜஸ்ட் மினிட். சி, அதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இதுவே எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணேன். பாருங்க, நான் ட்ரம் எடுத்துக்கிட்டேன்னா ட்ரம்முக்கு வந்து கிளாக் வைஸ் ரொட்டேட் ஆச்சுன்னா ஃபோர்ஸ் வந்து ஆன்டி கிளாக் வைஸ் இருக்கும். இது ஃப்ரீ பாடி டயக்ராம் ஃபார் ட்ரம்முக்கு. ரைட்? இதுவே நான் வந்து இந்த லீவருக்கு எடுக்கும்போது இதுவும் ஆட் பண்ணா 0 வரணும். புரியுதுங்களா?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So அப்போ இதுக்கு ஆப்போசிட்,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
ரைட்? லீவர் வச்சு தான் நம்ம பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம், நாட் ட்ரம்.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So we stop here. So your Rn into A, right? That is the first moment. It is in anti-clockwise. Then what about this one? It is rotating clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Clockwise.
Clockwise. It is rotating in clockwise. So minus mu Rn minus mu Rn into B, right? Into B, right? And what about your force? That is also in clockwise. Minus P into L is equal to 0. Right? In that case, I can write it as T is equal to, right? So Rn A minus mu Rn B divided by L. Or I can write P is equal to Rn as a common term. If I take it out, I get A minus mu B divided by L. Right? Any doubt on this? Okay, I will proceed. Now, we got two formulas. One, P is equal to Rn into A plus mu B divided by L. Other one is A minus mu B divided by L. Okay? These are all case one, when your fulcrum is above your friction force. When the fulcrum is above your friction force. Right? Okay. So now, let us consider a new topic. Self-energized and self-locking in brake. Right? So let us consider the previous formula. So this is the formula we achieved. We got P is equal to Rn into A minus mu into B divided by L. What is mu into Rn? What is mu into Rn?
Frictional force.
So it's a friction force. Right? So mu into Rn is a friction force. What is P? P is the force required to apply brake. Right? Force required to apply the brake. So you can able to see here, the force which is going to use, right, to apply brake is lesser, right, is lesser in this case, because we are getting friction force as a negative sign, right? Indicates that friction force itself is helping you to apply a brake, right? The friction force itself is helping you to apply the brake. In previous case, it is not like that. So previous case, your P is Rn into A plus mu divided B divided by L, right? Which means other than your friction force, you have to apply a brake. So எவ்வளவு friction force இருக்கோ அதையும் தாண்டி நீங்க brake apply பண்ணணும். அப்பதான் force வந்து அதிகம் இங்க. So you need to apply lots of effort to apply the brake here. Whereas here, you need lesser effort because your friction force itself is making your brake, it is reducing your force, right? Because it is a negative sign, indicating it is reducing your force, right? Since the force is reduced, right, or friction is helping to apply brake. Here, the friction is helping to apply brake, right? To apply brake easily, right? So which means your load, whatever you apply, is lesser when compared to this one, right? So this we call it as self-energized brakes. This we call it as self-energized brake, right? So the friction force itself is helping to apply a brake, right? That one we call it as a self-energized brake, right? And there is one more term, right? What happens if your P is 0? When your P will be 0? In this formula.
No force is applied.
In this condition. We consider this condition.
ஃபிரிக்ஷன் மட்டுமே போதுமா
when A is equal to mu B, sir.
So yeah, that is the thing. So we are concentrating only on this part. When A is equal to mu into B, right? When A is equal to mu into B, right? Your force will be 0. When your force will be negative, when your force will be negative,
mu b is greater
when
than
A is
lesser than
when mu is lesser than mu into B, right? What is this A and what is this B? And we proceed in a previous slide, right? You can able to see A is this distance, the center distance of your brake shoe to your fulcrum, and B is this distance, right? So if your B value is more, when compared to A, right? So when compared to A, if your B value is more, then you will get a force which is a negative. So negative means self-locking. So your brake is locked, right? Your brake is locked, right? So this is another concept where you may able to get it in this brake. Okay, so we have to make sure that your brake can be self-energized, but it should not be self-locking. It should not be self-locking, right? So self-energized will make your brake to apply it very
Sir.
at lesser force. Yes.
You can repeat self-locking alone, sir. Self-locking alone, 1 minute. Can you repeat?
So when your P is 0 or negative, automatically it means that there is no force required to apply a brake, right? It means that it is self-locking, right? So when you have the self-locking, when your distance A is lesser when compared to your B distance, right? In that case, you will get that self-locking, right? So that is important. So you should have a brake which is self-energized, but it should not be self-locking, right? So for screw jack, we use self-locking as an application. That is one positive thing. But for brake, it is not positive thing. It should not happen, right? Just opposite. Okay, so that is one concept, right? Okay, now we'll go for case 2. Before case 2, what is this case? Your line of friction force is above the fulcrum, right? Your line of friction force is above the fulcrum. Then what happens? Which means you can able to see that your fulcrum is below your friction force, right? It is locating here. So again, I have two conditions. One, when your brake drum is rotating in clockwise, right? So what will be the formula? So I have to take moment at O. Same procedure, moment at O, right? So we'll go one by one. Rn, it is rotating in anti-clockwise, so it is Rn into A, right? Rn into A minus or plus, so mu into B. So this is in clockwise, so minus mu Rn into B minus PL is equal to 0. Or I can say that P is equal to, I'll write it directly, Rn into A minus mu B divided by I. So this is same formula as we discussed last case. We discussed the same thing in 1B, right? In that case, it has to rotate in anti-clockwise, but now it has to rotate in clockwise, right? That is the difference. So this brake will have self-energized and it may have self-locking. It may have self-locking, right? So there is another case. So what happens when it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, right? And we can say again. So now your brake is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. So which means I don't have this force. Right? I don't have this force. It has to be in this direction. Right? Mu into R. Okay. In that case, so again, if I take moment at O, we get Rn into A. Right? So this is also anticlockwise now. So plus mu into Rn into B minus P into L is equal to 0, which means I will get P is equal to Rn into A plus mu B divided by L. Right? So this is applicable in case 1A. Right? So similar type of approach. Right? So here you need extra force to apply because the friction force is not helping you. So you need extra force. You have to withstand more than the friction force so that you can apply the load. Right? That is the concept. Any doubt to this?
Sir, sorry, sir. That mu, this is not I can understand, sir. Mu Rn, you are saying that when it is rotating anti-clockwise, mu Rn we are putting this side, no, sir. That that can you explain, sir?
See, when I draw a free body diagram for this, your drum alone, if I draw a free body diagram for a drum, it will be like this. Right? Let me consider for a fulcrum, it is like this. Sorry, for a lever, it is like this. Okay, this is my lever. Okay, now so your drum is rotating in anti-clockwise. If your drum is rotating in anti-clockwise, your lever and your drum is having contact, so you'll have a reaction force and a friction force opposite to the rotation. So since it is rotating anti-clockwise, you have friction force in this direction, mu into Rn. Right? When you consider your fulcrum, it has to be equilibrium state. So NR opposite. So it will be like this. This is your Rn. Right? So I will write it as Rn here. So this is your Rn. Opposite to this, like this. This is your Rn. Mu into Rn. Right? That's why I am writing like this. Can you get it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So if I draw a free body diagram separately, you can be able to get it. So we are showing this diagram only for this lever, not for your drum. We are concentrating only on lever. Okay, right. So there are two ways. So either you can muck up the formula, whatever which is given here, or you can do it directly if you are very, very much familiar with the moment, right? Because that is very, very important. It is not possible to apply formula for most of the cases. Mostly they will give a diagram and we will be applying it by using moment concepts, right? So that will be, I felt that is easy, but instead of remembering the formula, because it will be confusing, whether it's rotating clockwise, anti-clockwise, other these things, right? Instead, if you know how to take moment, it is like your engine and mechanics problem, right? So you identify how to take moment and other things, then you can easily get what is your force or what is your reactions. You can easily solve this problems. Okay. All right. Now we will proceed with one problem related, some problems related to this, right? And before that, so I have to discuss one more. So what happens when your brake shoe is higher, right? So there is something called as equivalent coefficient of friction, right? So actually, this brake shoe is lesser. The angle of the brake shoe, for example, if I consider this angle, this is 2 theta, right? This angle will be less than 40 degree, right? So since it is less than 40 degree, the reaction I am saying that it is acting centrally. right? What I am assuming that the force is acting at the center of your brake shoe, right? What happens if your angle is more than 40 degree, a higher angle, then the contact surface itself will have a more difference, right? So in that case, they will be integrating it to identify what is the new coefficient of friction, right? Okay. So for that case, you have to apply this formula. So there is a derivation. I'm not concentrating on that. Directly go for the formula. So equivalent coefficient of friction, mu dash is equal to 4 mu sin theta divided by 2 theta plus sin 2 theta, right? This is the formula, so which you have to apply, right? So for any brake problem, you check it out. What is your angle 2 theta? It should be less than 40 degree. If it is less than 40 degree, then whatever mu they give, you directly substitute it. If it is greater than 40 degree, you identify mu dash, right, by using this formula, right? Because your coefficient of friction, you have more contact. Because of that, your friction coefficient will differ.
சார் அப்போ இந்த ஃபிரிக்ஷன் வேல்யூ வந்து 40 டிகிரில இருக்கிறத அதிகமாக தானே சார்?
எந்த ஃபிரிக்ஷன் பா?
மியூ டேஷ்.
ஆமா, 40 டிகிரிக்கு மேல இருந்ததுன்னா மியூ டேஷ் கண்டுபிடிக்கணும்.
Then we have to find mu dash and replace in place of mu.
Yes, yes. So mu rn இருக்குல்ல, mu பதில் mu dash rn வந்துரும்.
Okay,
right? That is the difference.
இந்த mu dash வந்து mu விட அதிகமா இருக்குமா இல்ல கம்மியா? அதிகமா தான் இருக்கும்.
அதிகமா இருக்கும். It will be more. ரைட்டா, இருக்கிற கோஎஃபிஷியன்ட் அதிகமா இருக்கும். யூசுவலா கோஎஃபிஷியன்ட் ஆஃப் ஃபிரிக்ஷன் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா இட் இஸ் ஐடென்டிஃபைட் பை நோயிங் தி சர்ஃபேஸ் கான்டாக்ட்ஸ். ஸோ எந்தெந்த ரெண்டு சர்ஃபேஸ்னு வச்சு அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் இருக்கு, ரைட்? பட் ஆக்சுவலா பாத்தீங்கன்னா இட் ஆல்சோ டீல்ஸ் வித் ஹவு மச் இட் இஸ் ஹேவிங் கான்டாக்ட், எவ்வளவு ஏரியால கான்டாக்ட் ஆகுதுன்ட்டு. ஸோ லெஸ் தேன் 40 டிகிரினா யூ கேன் அப்ராக்சிமேட் ஆஸ் மியூ. ஏன்னா மியூ டேஷும் மியூவும் வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட சேமா தான் இருக்கும். நீங்க அப்ளை பண்ணி பார்த்தா தெரியும். 40 டிகிரில அப்ளை பண்ணி பார்த்தா மியூ டேஷும் மியூ கிட்டத்தட்ட சேமா இருக்கும். அதுக்கு மேல இருந்தாதான் சம்வாட் ஹையர் டிஃபரன்ஸ், ரைட்? அதனாலதான் we use it.